I am Fiona Sitkin, a founder of the Bridge Women Worldwide on the Rise talk show series. A professional educator and diversity culturalist, I am hosting this talk show series, which goal is to bridge professional women worldwide in exciting and relevant to their lives conversations in front of a gender diverse audience. We women want to help each other to survive and thrive, right? A few words about myself. Originally from Ukraine, it makes me personally happy to see that women worldwide on all 5 continents are on the rise, moving up in society and having their voices heard more and more and more. As the ranks of professional women are swelling, so we at the Bridge are proud to be a by women for women talk show. And now let us transition to the main point of our talk show, that is interviewing the immigrant women. And today's guest is Irmgard Lafrentz. Hello and welcome again. We are welcoming Irmgard Lafrentz to the show today. She is a notable entrepreneur, originally from Germany, now living in the Silicon Valley in California.
Thank you very much, Fiona, for inviting me. I really enjoyed working with you on your book and also being part of this talk show.
You are very welcome. So that you know, my dear listeners, that Irmgard is a 100% self-made person. Born in Hamburg, Germany, she worked for a weekly newspaper, Die Zeit, in Hamburg. She was an au pair in England and then worked in Munich, the largest privately owned optical manufacturer called Rodenstock. And that was a very notable career by German standards, right? My question to you, Irmgard, is why did you move to America in the first place and how did you start here?
Well, that's simple. I had fallen in love with an American engineer in Munich. We got married and located to Silicon Valley, where I started very low as a bookstore clerk. Then I realized that my English was not very good, so I went to college and started really hard.
And how did it work out since then?
Well, while in college, I also joined PRSA, Public Relations Association of America, where I made my first contacts in the PR business. Then I spotted my opportunity to become a PR consultant and then later started my own agency.
I see. Well, this sounds great, but you were married to an American engineer. It's understandable. Did you have any difficult time here in the US?
Well, the beginning was very difficult because I had to deal with the transition from being somebody in the German optical industry to suddenly being a nobody in Silicon Valley, because I didn't know anyone except my new husband.
Right, but why not live off your husband, an engineer, like so many other women do? Why did you have to start your own business?
Well, I worked all my life and I could not see myself not working just because I was married now. And so starting to work here was really desperation. I started interviewing with several companies, but nobody hired me because there was no need for an international PR person in the companies.
I see. Well, so doing your own business, you kind of reinvented yourself as a successful businesswoman in America. Do you think you could have started your own business in Germany, your native country, though?
The short answer is no. I always knew I was not made for the corporate world and already dreamt in 1980 of having my own business. I even bought an apartment to accommodate a home office. I went to the bank, and the first thing the banker said to me to bring a signature from my husband. Of
I
course,
see.
I didn't have a husband at the time. So how the situation is now for women-owned business funding, I don't know.
Well, looking back at your American entrepreneurial career today, could you tell us this? When you were on the rise of your own business, did you exactly bring something special to the American table? And what exactly did you bring to the table as a woman immigrant in America?
What I brought to the table was something that didn't exist at the time, a communication channel between American technology companies and the European media.
Uh-huh. Please remind me when you immigrated into the United States.
I immigrated in 1984, and at the time, my employer in Munich, a big optical manufacturer, just had begun to computerize. So when I came to Silicon Valley, I spotted the opportunity to use my PR expertise and start as a consultant, and later found my business, my own agency.
Uh-huh. So in other words, you had the vision to promote your clients through a press coverage. So you were creative enough to find your own niche in America, right?
Correct. Yes. The niche is exactly the right word. At the time, press coverage was a key sales tool for companies to promote themselves.
Let me ask you this. When you become a recognized matchmaker connecting the Silicon Valley high-tech companies on the one hand with the European media and businesses on the other, could you summarize your contributions as 1, 2, 3, please?
Yes, I can. One, I brought jobs. Over the years, I hired many managers, consultants, associates. Most of them were immigrants like myself from Germany, France, Chile, Brazil, India, Iran, and even from Ireland. So mostly immigrant women. The number 2, connections. My concept of connecting American companies with the media and industry analysts in Europe was clearly a business model that I thought would be really successful. And 3, perseverance. My perseverance strengthened dramatically in the US. And I realize, and I know many immigrant women, everybody has to overcome challenges in terms of financial and personal hurdles.
Right. Thank you so much. I agree with everything that you say. It's an excellent, excellent summary. But now let us talk about the cultures, okay? We know that the Germans in the United States are the biggest ethnic group, integrated for centuries. But was it difficult for you as an immigrant woman of the first generation to integrate here?
I definitely had a hard time to integrate in the beginning, and had to reinvent myself to an extent.
So what, or which rather, of your typical German values were modified in the US?
What comes to mind first is that I became more compassionate and philanthropic, and I became really a volunteer.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's
This
good.
charity is really taken care of in Germany by the government through higher taxes. So now I contribute financially and hands-on to several charities. And I have to say, in the beginning, I really resented my husband for donating so much money and so much time.
In other words, you reinvented yourself, transitioning from scarcity to abundance mentality, more typical in the US. Talking of your personal culture change and this transition, are there any specific modifications that you noticed about yourself?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think the major change was my attitude to money. You know, Germans are known to be quite frugal. We go out as a group for dinner or lunch, but we pay individually. Here in the US, we go out as a group and the bill gets split equally, no matter of individual consumption. So I really enjoy this the American way much more.
I also prefer the American way. That's why we moved to America, right? Okay, here is my next question. The book where you've been profiled, How They Made It in America, has in the second part the 7 success values that all 18 women who were profiled stick with. Now, talking about your own success, which of the values were most useful to you? Which are more talking to you? Which were most helping to you?
Yeah, of course, all these 7 values that are identified are very important. But for me personally, it was character building, strategic thinking, and perseverance.
And perseverance. Uh-huh.
Perseverance, yes.
Yes, thank you, Irmgard. I should confess that when I am talking about my book, giving talks at libraries and corporations, I profile you and present you and showcase you as a case study in strategic thinking. This is number 1 here. And you know why? Because most people think they need strategic thinking only when starting their business. But you are different. You also knew when to close your business, right?
Yes, I closed my business in 2016 because I saw that new communication channels and strategies and the internet made my original business model outdated.
Uh-huh. I know that you have spent 3 years in Ecuador, South America, helping the local women to survive and thrive. And I love that. I respect that. Why did you go there?
Well, after I realized closing the business was the right move, and I have to admit, there was some fear involved because I was fearful of reverting from being a somebody in Silicon Valley, kind of the queen of international PR, to becoming a nobody again. So it was a great way to escape this realization. Yeah, and I also really wanted something completely new. I wanted some adventure, to be honest.
Ah, yeah, and so in fact, you became a serial reinventor of self. first reinventing yourself in the Silicon Valley and then in Cuenca, Ecuador, right?
Yes.
What exactly did you do there in Ecuador?
In Ecuador, I helped a women's shelter with mostly fundraising.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, my Silicon Valley friends still trusted me and sent a lot of dollars.
Uh-huh.
I also wrote and produced a video to show women on camera telling their story to promote and help us fundraising. So this video called A Place to Restart Life is of course dedicated to the shelter Casa Maria Amor, helped to raise even more money.
Thank you so much. This is an amazing story, Irmgard, of restarting your life and career later in life. A lesson for me personally, and I believe for many of our listeners. By the way, many of the immigrant women I interviewed for the book and HuffPost blogs noted that philanthropy and volunteering are the culture traits they admire the most in Americans. The Americans are more generous in hand and spirit, and the fact that you became an outstanding volunteer means that you integrated deeply into the US-American culture fabric. Now, let me show you something that would illustrate Irmgard's life and career. Here on this picture, you see Irmgard before she came to the America. You see her wedding picture, a beautiful wreath and beautiful country-style dress and a beautiful bouquet and a woman full of hopes. I am coming to America. And the right picture is a picture of her company's Global Press Connections announcement of one of the conferences that she organized for media and the Silicon Valley professionals. Very interesting, I find it. Now, the next picture is showcasing her professional life as well. On the left, you see 21 editors that Irmgard brought together for one of her company's meetings, bringing together media, European companies, and Silicon Valley companies. In the middle, you see a glamorous picture of Irmgard in August 2019 at the wedding of her own son, Daniel Lafrentz, a big event. By the way, Daniel Lafrentz is a filmmaker of record, and of course, his mother's pride. Bravo, Irmgard, good job. And the picture on the right is Irmgard with some of the kids in Cuenca, Ecuador. These are some of the shelter kids. I am very grateful to you, Irmgard, for sharing these pictures and for being here on the show today. The pictures, of course, help to visualize your way in life, and you had it your way. You have developed yourself as a role model for success in the US. This is my thinking. And we do hope to see you again here on one of the Bridge talk shows. A round of applause for Irmgard. She richly deserves it.
Thank you very much, Fiona. It was really enjoyable to be with you.
Thank you. And let us summarize now. Women worldwide are on the rise, and they do bring a lot to their home country. They bring a lot to the US-American table. What they bring is the jobs from their entrepreneurship. They also bring global connections from being bicultural and bilingual. They also bring their personal perseverance from overcoming the hurdles that all immigrants have aplenty. And I hope you agree with me that our today's guest Irmgard Lafrentz, is a beautiful illustration of all these three. We are very grateful to our audience. Please continue following us on the YouTube channel called The Bridge, Women Worldwide. And I would like to show the information where you can reach us. Here's the channel that you can go and share your thinking under the discussion. And here is the other information, my personal email, my book website, things of that nature. You are very welcome to ask the questions, and I guarantee I will answer it. And here is the next talk show announcement. It's called Women Worldwide on the Rise. Aspects of English with an accent. Well, for now, we salute you. Thank you for attending, and bye-bye.
Great, thank you.